Where are we gone? There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, focus on your screen right now because it's kind of sexy, hasn't been there for quite a while. He's been out of the game a little while, but I want to introduce you formally, for those of you who don't know, to this young man. He's from the frozen north of Canada, and his name is the Handmine. Mate, welcome to the show. It is an honour and a pleasure to have you on this thing.
Thank you, Neil. The honor and pleasure is all mine. And thank you for calling me young, because we both know that doesn't apply to me too much anymore.
Hey, mate, you're in your prime. And let's get down to brass tacks. Yeah. This has all come about because I heard a rumour, I think started by your rather lanky friend, Mr. Devon No Limits Larratt, that you're making another run at it, son. Is this true? Are we to believe that you're coming back into this thing?
Yes, it's true.
Oh, lovely darts. So I know you're a modest individual, so I'm going to fill in a few gaps for people if they're not familiar with John. John is not just a sidekick on the Ottawa High Hookers funny videos, even though he's behind 90% of the funniest stuff that's ever been done in the sport of arm wrestling comes from this dude. But as you can probably see as he wipes his eye from that massive forearm, this fella's got pedigree. John was involved in the Arm Wars Super Series with me for probably, 6-7 years, John? I think you were active in there. Probably. And if you check back on armwars.com, you're going to see this young man in some wars. He pulled the likes of Ryan Clark, Paul Maiden. He was in there with some absolute screamers. You stepped up weights. You even pulled, in Vegas, you went right up there against some of the big boys. I can't even remember you were pulled out there, but you were in with some absolute monsters. And you weren't running from these guys. You weren't finessing them. You were trying to just jam them in there and finish it in a foam box. So all of a sudden, John drops out of there. Not in the game anymore. And what I wanted to get from you, mate, give us a little bit of a catch-up from me and for people listening. What happened to John Milne at that time?
Life. Finances, heartbreak, you name it. It hits every one of us. Some of us handle it better than others. And what happened with me, kind of, not that everything happened at once, but things just kind of started to pile up. And I've been very, as you know, like an emotional arm wrestler. Mm-hmm. And I was always filled with fire. And if I didn't have that fire, I wasn't me, it wasn't good, and it wasn't enjoyable. And basically, I kind of lost that desire, lost the fire to compete. I lost just the will to do it all, I guess. And the daily grind. If you don't have the will to do the daily grind, you're done. You need to be training all the time, steady. You've got to have that fire. And as you know, there's sometimes I was arm wrestling guys, even in your league especially, that were stronger than me, that were faster than me. And I just won by just willpower and guts. If I didn't have that, I didn't have much, right? So the steady decline was just a combination of kind of a bunch of things and life happening to me and losing the desire and losing the willpower.
Now, you wind the clock forward to where we're at now, mate, and a lot going on in the world of arm wrestling right now. There really is. I mean, this is exciting times for the sport, exciting times for everybody in the sport. I wanted to ask you, was it just that? Is it sort of the call of the lights and the available that has brought you back into the sport, or is it something much more primal than that? Is it something deeper than that? Have you got that burn again?
You'll appreciate this because you know Devon quite well.
Yep.
And I was over visiting, and I've been over there I've been not arm wrestler for about 2 years, and I just go over and visit, hang out, sit on the couch, and shoot the shit, do whatever.
You've moved out of the cellar. You're no longer in that cellar because I know you lived in there.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I did actually.
Did actually live there, like legit, yeah.
I did live there for a month or so when I was between. Anyways, so I was there visiting, and he said, "Well, by the way, I got you in a match in Toronto."
As you do.
Yeah, I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't arm wrestle anymore." He's like, "Yeah, well, you do now. I got you in a match. I'm doing a seminar."
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Yeah, I don't arm wrestle anymore." I said, "Well, if you don't do it, you're a pussy." I said, I'm not a pussy because I don't arm wrestle. He goes, yeah, you are. You have to go and just fight with this guy and see what happens. So literally it was as simple as that. And I went to Toronto, competed with this guy, and I felt decent. I felt pretty good. I mean, I'm healthy. I'm not injured after 2.5 years. I've got no soreness. So I felt good. And then almost the same thing happened with the bottom 8. That's why I'm competing in this one coming up, because we were, again, putting this year's event together. And he just said, he called me up one night and he says, I got you against Ryan Bowen. I'm like, man, like that, because the kid's hot, right?
Yeah, he's running. He's you. He's where you were. The guy that I was describing in Arm Wars, he's that guy that sometimes wasn't supposed to win and sort of just came out of nowhere. Where'd that guy come from? But all of a sudden, there's a name, there's another name. And suddenly the big name guys were like, I'm not sure I want to pull this guy. You were dangerous. You were live wire right then. And it's his time. It's right now, isn't it?
Right. And I know how dangerous somebody like that can be. Like, he's dedicated. He's traveling all over the world, literally. He's training with the best people he possibly can. He's young, he's hungry. And then there's me, old and not training. But I thought, you know what? Sometimes you need someone to fight with, or you need that fight yourself. Like, you need that to kind of just, we've got that in us, right? You've been a competitor for years, and you know what it's like. And sometimes as an old fighter, you think, I think I've got one more in me, or maybe a couple in me, and then why not, right? I think, what have I got to lose? So that's sort of how that came about. It's not romantic, it's not dramatic, but I mean, that's literally how it happened. I'm like, screw it, like let's find out if I can still fight.
and talk to me about timescales, mate. When are we talking about here? How long from him saying, look, I'm going to get you in this match, to you sort of to the man we're looking at right now?
I think he approached me, man, it's not that long ago, maybe a month, or at the most 2 months ago. Yeah. So I've been, it may be a bit more than that. I don't know for sure, but it has not been long.
Yeah. So it's not a mountain, but you're on a steep hill. It's,
He's probably going to kill me, but I mean, maybe he won't.
It's one of those where, because top 8's the week and straight after 601, isn't it? Like 25th of April, will that be? Or 24th of April, around there?
You did something funny. You just called it top 8. And that's
bottom 8 even. Hey, it's been a long day, mate. You can see I've wrapped up my day. My driving's done. It's Sunday night and I'm chilling out with my mate. So as far as I'm concerned, John, you guys are top 8. It's interesting stuff. But joking aside, it's thrown you into it's deep end.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's April 25th is what it is. That's what you're asking. And I know all the guys that are in it. And I know that they can be very dangerous, but I'm literally, the only thing I'm looking at is Ryan Bowen. I don't care what happens an hour after that match. I don't care what happens 10 minutes after that match. The only thing I'm thinking about is Bowen. I'm not looking past him. I'm not looking anything. Like I said, as a competitor yourself, when you got something, you got that big game in your sights, you don't give a shit what happens around you. You got your eyes on that, and that's it. And that's the only thing that matters. So I'm going to try and do what I can with this dangerous kid. I call him a kid because he's younger than us, but I'll do what I can and take it from there.
Do you feel like, in some respects, mate, you're in an all-lose situation here? Because, as you say, Ryan is a hot ticket right now. I mean, he's just had an impressive win against Chance Shaw. Whatever your opinions of Chance Shaw, you cannot deny that guy can arm wrestle. There's no doubt about it. And let's be honest here, he's had he's chalked up a few wins that have made people lift their flat cap a little bit and think, the first one of note, probably Evan Burgoyne. After that, who's a bigger man, powerful lad, underrated, flies under the radar, very strong guy who you know extremely well. Since then, he's knocked off guys like Dallas Langston. He's had wins of a fashion over guys like Dan Mosier. He's beaten some pretty impressive names over there, and to some extent, does that present a situation where it sort of alleviates a little bit of that pressure? Do you feel like some of that's come off you a bit?
100%. Yeah, I do feel all the pressure's off in a sense, because I think all these opponents that he's beaten would probably kill me. So I'm like, whatever. I'm going to go in and do what I can. And the only pressure that's on me literally is if I want to continue in this thing, I've got to win. If I go in and I don't do well and I don't win, maybe I'll stick to, not that announcing is lesser of the two,
Thanks, brother.
But I may stick with something
looking
like
out
that.
for me.
Well, because I enjoy it too, right? I mean, it's very enjoyable. It's fun. But the only pressure that would be on me whatsoever would be to try and, same as it's always been, just not get embarrassed, right? You want to put up a good fight. You want to, if I can get in the fight, as you know, I can make it ugly. And if it's ugly, traditionally, usually I come out less bloody than my opponent. So the pressure is more or less.
It is interesting that, because you always like to get people into that horrible, long, drawn out, just intense dogfight. That was your game. That's what you wanted. It's what you looked for. You sort of hunted it down. To some extent, Ryan's cut from certainly a similar cloth. He may be perceived as a little bit more diverse in an approach to the match, whereas everybody knew where you were, like the Mirko Cro Cop effect, where you came in, everybody knows he's throwing that left high kick, but he still comes out and knocks you out with that left high kick, you know. And you were a little bit like that, weren't you? You'd come in and it was like, it's going inside, do what you want to try and stop it. You will end up inside and you will end up in an absolute dogfight. And 9 times out of 10, it's where it ended up.
Yeah, and I always felt then, because my conditioning was so good, that if I could stop the match, I'm probably going to get it. Like eventually. Maybe not first round, maybe not second, but like I said, you've seen me before, being 3 rounds deep in the hole and coming back and winning. So I never lost that. I think I can do this in my head. I always thought there's a way.
Yeah.
And if there's not a way, I'm going to make one. So that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed. I'm not going to come in with anything flashy. I'm not going to be doing King's move stuff. There's nothing new. Like, I'm going to do what I was good at and hope it's good enough.
And you've got a guy, you know, obviously what I wanted to say to you, John, you made a comment a moment ago that you thought a lot of these guys that Ryan's had results against would do well with yourself. Now, you've got a pretty good measuring stick over there. The Green Machine's full of killers. You've got some serious pullers over there. You've got guys around you like Evan Burgoyne, who's got a lot of experience with Ryan. You've got Alan Ford just down the road. You've got BLM, who's another guy that Ryan's going to be familiar with real soon. And more. Justin Major, Jeff, super underrated. Hat goes off to that guy. So many guys around you there that you can utilize as a measuring stick. When you're going against these guys now, compared with the guy that used to pull them back in the day when you were hot, where's that level? Do you feel like you're anywhere close? Can you see the level, or is it like, way?
I don't pull those guys. I don't train very much at Devon's. Maybe once in a while I do. I pull with 4 younger guys in a smaller town close to where I live. Okay. Every once in a while, our group will go back into Devon's and kind of compete with those guys. Mm-hmm. But as far as a measuring stick, I don't feel like I'm anywhere close to what I was. I just pulled with Alan Ford 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he beat me both times, both in the strap and out of the strap, and that hadn't happened since 2008. Like he never beat me when I was good. So I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say where I'm at, but I'm definitely not at the same level that I was for sure.
But this is, are you very much going into this with the right mindset? I mean, Bowen talks about this a lot, and it's something that I happen to agree with. If you can allow yourself to lose, or if you can go into a match not fearing the loss and only being hungry for the win, then you're a tough man to beat. You're sort of, you're kamikaze pilot, you're suicide bomber. You've got nothing to lose, so he's going to get you best. And do you feel like that you've got a little bit of that hanging out of your back pocket now?
100%. That's exactly what my mindset is. Yeah, exactly that.
And why Bowen, John? Obviously, you said, is it just because it's him first, or is there something deeper?
I didn't select it. Devin came to me with it. I think it makes good sense for me. Like, for instance, let's just say, and I hate to look ahead, but let's just say I do well against Ryan.
Yeah.
It opens up a lot of potential opportunities for me.
Yeah, the lid comes off. It really does.
Whereas if I beat some of the other characters in the bottom 8, even though they're maybe equally as dangerous, it doesn't open up as many doors for me. So the risk versus reward on someone like Ryan Bowen is at the very height. So it makes good sense for me. And I commend Ryan Bowen for taking it, because it makes no sense for him. If he beats up, some 47-year-old guy who's been retired for a couple of years, it doesn't really do a lot for him. Mm-hmm. it does everything for me. So there's a big swing in this match. Should it go my way?
Now, let's move on from that to win, lose, or draw here. If you get an impressive showing, I think that's often that's more the key. In my eyes, certainly that's more the key. And you know what I mean. If you come out of that and there's blood on the table and everybody knows, then that's worth its weight. And you look at the roster now in the middleweight division, and you look at what's going on in the middleweight division around the sport. RVJ just putting out the old cock of the walk. A lot of guys going in there, and I can't believe that the first part of that hesitated just after I said putting out the old and hesitated after cock. Just to clear that up, he did not put out the old cock. It's cock of the walk. Now, that tournament's attracting quite a bit of talent. There's a number of guys going in for that cue, Shea Dickey. But do you think you'd like to get back into that mix? Do you see guys that are in there that you think to yourself, yeah, I could do something there, and if not right now, very soon?
If the dates were different, I would 100% be doing that. I love that format. I love Rob. It's going to be a fantastic event, and it's a murderer's row. Like, you can't find an easy match there, and everybody has something to prove. That's another thing that's very impressive about that, because everyone is going in there with something to prove, and that makes everyone very dangerous. With the triple elimination, I think that bodes well for me, who can kind of for make matches longer and uglier and just going to keep sustaining. That would be perfect for me. If the dates were different, I would probably be doing something like that. With Bowen on April 25th, I'm not even going an Eric Rasen's tournament here right in the city this month, and I was going to, but I don't want any excuses. I want to keep my training on point. I want to keep everything on point for Mr. Bowen, because I know he deserves the best. I respect him enough for that. Mm-hmm. And I need to win. I need to win that match. I really want to win that match. I guess that's a better way of saying it. So I'm focused, no excuses. And if the dates were different, I would absolutely be talking to Rob Vigent Jr. Yeah.
Now, just a reminder for people about the bottom 8 format. Give me an indication and let people know one more time how the bottom 8's going to run. So how the thing's going to be pulled, because it's a pretty deep tournament in itself. I know there's the whole angle around bottom 8, and it's a bit of a joke, and there's some guys in there, but there's also some pullers in there. Yourself, Bowen, these aren't bums. These are solid individuals, So it can be a long day.
As far as any of the details of the tournament, it's a Devin Larratt tournament. Mm-hmm. And Devin is just everywhere, scattered. Yeah. This changes all the time. Like, the format's changing, the numbers are changing, the venue just changed. So I think we know the first set of matchups. Beyond that, nobody knows a thing. Mm-hmm. So there's not even a directly, you can't look at the draw sheets and say this person's going to go with that next. That's not how we're doing it. We spoke the other day how we're going to maybe do things a little bit differently. So it's literally, you show up, you go against who you think you're supposed to go against, and then from there you carry on. That's, Devin, right? He's kind of just scattered like everywhere.
Yeah, so, it's all over the place.
He enjoys
all over the place. Yeah. Yes, he does. He thrives. He tries to create it in his arm wrestling matches, and in his life's surrounded by that. I mean, let's be honest. He's lived in chaotic situations for quite a while. So if you can get acclimatized, I'm sure he's pretty acclimatized.
Yeah.
Now, just let's focus on some of the guys that are in there. Can you give us a run through or a top to bottom on exactly who's going to be involved in the bottom 8?
So Larry Wheels, I'm pretty sure you know who he is.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, probably one of the strongest people on the planet.
Yeah. I mean, the guy is shredded beyond belief. I actually described him at a Giants Live tournament. I think it was Giants Live Leeds a couple of years ago. He came in as a guest to do the log lift. And I said that he basically looked like a 6-foot erection in a pair of reading glasses.
Mine doesn't look like that.
Yeah. Now, he gave me, and that was in front of like 12,000 people, and he gave me a look like he wasn't impressed. Fortunately, his girlfriend was laughing her ass off behind, so I don't know what she knows. You know what I'm saying? But man's in shape. Let's just say that. I'm in shape myself, but it's more round.
Right.
That kid ain't round.
So with him, we've got Juji Mufu.
Another athlete. You know, I mean, he takes abuse. Have you pulled with Juji?
I don't think that I did last year. I don't think no, I didn't. No.
Be interesting to see how much he's improved.
And yes, interesting to see with him and Larry, because Larry's got the strength, and whether or not he can put that rubber to the road is another story.
Yeah.
We've got Ryan returning again, last year's champion, Ryan Bowen. Myself, Ryan's pulling Evan Burgoyne. Or sorry, Ryan's pulling me, but Ryan's first opponent previously is Evan Burgoyne. That company returning again, and you know his story.
Yeah, and he's going to be looking for some vengeance, I'm sure.
Yeah, he absolutely will. His brother, his big brother, Brett, is also in the mix, and he's got everyone who knows terrified.
Does he also like fight bears with his hands and catch salmon with his teeth?
Worse than that. Yeah, he's gigantic. He's tough as hell. He's mean. He's strong.
Mean as well.
Mean. Yeah, mean. Yeah. He tried to fight Devin last year. Yeah. So he's an Evan Burgoyne, but wilder, if you can imagine.
Wow.
And even probably drinks more. I don't know.
Is that? Do you have tranquilizer darts at the event?
I wouldn't dare shoot it.
Yeah, in case he didn't go out quick enough. Fair enough. Yeah. Sounds like
Evan told me our only chance for anyone to do anything is to make sure Brett's too drunk to compete. But he also said that's a very good possibility.
How big are we talking? How big is Brett?
He's probably, I'm going to guess he's like maybe 6'2" or so. And he would, I don't know if his weight's near 300, but it probably is. He's a big man.
He's a big boy. Big.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Does he hibernate?
Sorry?
Does he hibernate or no?
Yeah, he's not really active on social media.
Leaves that to Evan. Evan's pretty active on social. Love you, Burgoyne. We love your son. Do love Evan, actually.
Jonathan Lava coming back again. Matthew Granahan, I think, the King of Connecticut.
Okay.
He was one of the guys who really ran up Devin's YouTube a little while ago, really calling him a rat.
Oh, not rat, you rat. That with the no neck. Yeah, I know him. I like him, actually. Funny as hell.
He's coming back. Raymond's, he trains with Coach Ray.
Oh.
He trains with us.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Mate, Ramon's Lipins is no bum.
I know.
Balls. Let me tell you now. Ramon's Lipins is a Bob the Fluffer.
I know.
Because I bottom ate my ass, yeah.
I know.
And he can arm wrestle.
Because Devin added him after I said that I would join. Like, dude, you got to quit adding guys who are just going to kill everybody else. And don't worry about it, buddy. You'll be fine. Like, that's his answer for everything.
Yeah.
Who else am I missing?
Is Alex back in there?
Yes, Alex by Zafs. I don't know what his last name is. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have Artem again. He's
coming back.
Yes, he's coming back.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes, Alex is the schoolboy's brother, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in. Tom Boyden. He's one with. I think it's that Juji's Tom. I think it's
yeah.
And he's taking on Milo Lara, Devin's son. Yeah. So Milo's in the mix.
I didn't know Milo pulled. I know Milo's been sort of encapsulated with the sport, obviously, but I didn't know he was an arm wrestler as such.
He's not. He doesn't really train that much. He's giant. He's 6'2" probably now. He looks just like a young Devin.
Yeah, he's got genetics.
Yeah, and pretty much the same demeanor, same kind of attitude, like sort of like minus the drive. Like I mean to say that, I guess. Like really easygoing and
super laid back. Yeah.
That'll be fun. The Beaver is coming back, and he's on he meets the person who loses everything gets to go against the Beaver, and then they go for the bottom 8 champion or whatever you want to call them. So I think that's who's that here?
Quite a lineup. Quite a lineup, though, mate. I mean, we said it earlier. Bottom 8, my ass. There's some pullers in there.
Yeah, of course.
Really have. I mean, when you said Ramon's live pinch, that's a dark horse right there.
Well, he's got Brett Burgoyne first round, so we'll see what he's made of.
Oh my Lord, will we?
Yeah.
So that's So he's pulling a giant straight out the bat. Your first match is going to be Bowen.
Yes. Providing things don't change.
Yeah, shall be a long day, son.
And there's potential for the next one that's not been released is a mega. I'm sure you already know who it is, but it's a mega announcement that Devin hasn't released yet because we haven't 100% confirmed it. But if this person comes, it's fantastic for arm wrestling, and everyone's going to love it. So, and I wish I could tell you off camera.
Yes, going to save it. And but either way, mate, I'm excited. We're going to jump off here now, but I know we're back on in action later on, and we'll be getting some more stuff. John, I want to say thank you so very much, mate, for coming on the show. And I look forward to more conversations in a little while, brother.
Thank you very much for having me, Neil. It's great to see you again.
A pleasure, mate.